cats, you know where it's at. It's Balco Books. We are just about to get started. We had a power outage earlier, so I was like, am I even going to be able to do the stream today? And it turns out, yes, I am going to be able to do the stream today. Let's real quick just make sure we alert Blue Sky saying, hey, we are totally live. All right, we're gonna be live for the next, I'm gonna say 3 hours. And since we are now getting started, in 5 minutes, we will begin the study hall. And we'll go from there. Let's also get some info going here. So, study hall in 5 minutes. Here, you know what? Do this. All right, and now that begins in 5. Getting started there. Oh. My clock working. Oh, I see. All right, so we'll give it a couple minutes, and then my focus for today is going to be on more learning about dialects. I specifically want to learn about the estuary dialect in England, which is sort of like a Cockney, sort of like Beatles-ish British accent, which is useful, especially for just having under my belt, because received pronunciation is one very predominant way of speaking, but it's not, it's often considered too posh, too formal for a lot of naturally speaking dialogue. So I do want to get that considered. And all right, let me also adjust the shorts feed. Okay. Boop, bop. There we go. Move this down right here. It is in white. That is not ideal. Give me a sec. Fix that. All right. And yeah, so today it's my time, it's your time. Go grab something that you want to work on, grab something that you want to practice, get something set up that you want to use this next 45 minutes for. We'll go ahead and do it, and then come together in 45 minutes. I'll get a clock going somehow. And yeah, this time's for you. This time's for me. This time's for you. I'm going to remember how to do the clock, how to set up the clock. Aha. Was that for me? Were you summoning me with a clap? Oh, I don't know. Did you just... Got it. If you want to make me coffee, that would be lovely. I would appreciate it. Thank you. All right, what do we do with all this? There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way than to use my clock app. Well, it's time to get started anyway. So I'm going to mute myself. Go grab something you want to work on. I will see you at, let's just say 1:55. I'll put it here. Grab something to work on. See you at 1:50. Okay.
understand. About the adventures? Why even go on them at all? Why not try to find a way to leave?
Well, we usually do when we first arrive, but after a while you start to realize that you really can't leave. Thank goodness this is all a dream. Right, Mommy? You really can't leave, and constantly chasing an unattainable goal will start driving you a bit crazy.
Alrighty, folks. Hello. So, let's turn this down a little bit, or all a bit. So today I wanted to just update the chat over there. Over, it's that way. No, it's that way. It's that way. I wanted to update it so that YouTube can see themselves talk if they want to. But I do still do all my messaging through Twitch because that's where I have all of my commands set up. So if you want to chat in a way that I will definitely see it, Twitch is the way to go. But I was going through this book still, the Voiceover Actor's Handbook. It is a very, very good detailed book. And this particular chapter was about understanding and interpreting scripts, which is the next thing that I want to do personally in my voiceover acting journey. I want to learn better about how to appraise a sample of reading so that I can actually jump into it as wholly as I want to. Especially as I go through Sherlock Holmes during story time. That is an aspect that I'm absolutely going to be keeping in mind. So going through this book, there are a couple of just key concepts that are important, and I do want to just kind of relay to you. A lot of it is about knowing what the significance of what you're reading is so that you can participate in the significance along with the listener. So whether that means emphasizing specific words so that the audience knows where to train their ears. So if it's a brand, you want to be like, you know, coming soon to a Toyota near you. Like you want Toyota to be like extra emphasized so that we know what we're talking about. What's the subject? Why are we here? What are you listening to? And that's something that you don't really keep in mind until you start seeing how sentences are being constructed to be received. My job as a voiceover actor would be to be the conduit from the intention of the person who wrote the script to the ears of the person receiving the script. So I'm essentially I'm transmuting meaning from them to the audience. It's, you know, and I've thought about this before, but it is a kind of manipulation in a way, and that's part of it that I'm not super stoked on. I'm sure I'm going to have to do some advertisements or something along those lines just to get my feet wet and stuff, but marketing is kind of evil, but you need voice acting for it, so, you know, it is what it is. They also talk about how to construct a message with an appropriate amount of drama so that once you finish your reading, once you finish your performance, once you finish the performance, the audience has as much excitement for what you're reading as one should have while reading it. So in order to deliver the message, there needs to be some element of the actor communicating that they want to deliver the message. There's a participation in reality, and like controlling energy, especially from the beginning to the middle to the end. There's different kinds of energy that you want to incorporate in order to sort of lead someone along through the script with you. And in order to do that, you need to know where in the script you are at all times. So you need to be aware of what has been said before. You need to be aware of how things have been said before. Is it redundant? If you read something, if you read this sentence, did you already read a sentence that covered something like that? If that's the case, then you have to perform the new sentence differently. And that's a consideration that is not intuitive with this. Another thing would be to consider what it's like to be an actor on stage versus what it's like to be an actor in a booth. So when you have control over the distance of a microphone, you have control over the intimacy of the message being conveyed. So if you are saying, like, I love you, Martha. That's something you want, like, to bring the microphone closer. I love you, Martha, or something like that. And it's fascinating because I really did not think about a lot of these things. There was one section where it talks about how a beginner would appraise their performance when they don't know much. So usually when a beginner listens back to their performance, they're like, wow, that was like an 8 or 9 out of 10. And then once someone gains experience, suddenly, wow, that was more of a 3 or 4. You don't know what you know. You don't know what you don't know until you realize you don't know it. And at that point, any mistakes that you've made up until that point, hopefully you haven't made too big of ones, in your ignorance. You don't want to have made too much. All right, well, I just lost the end of that word. I wasn't able to get to everything, but I did just kind of like write down the keywords that I wanted to. So focus, like concentration, delivering something with intensity, anger. How much can you suspend your disbelief and put yourself into the setting that is demanded of you in the script? That's a consideration. And I didn't finish the chapter because it's actually a very dense chapter full of these kinds of insights. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm like reading through scripts and interpreting scripts on the fly is certainly a valuable skill to have in general, but especially as someone who is potentially being paid for delivering that message to an audience. And that said, we are going to be moving on into story time, which we will be going back to our good old Sherlock Holmes. And we love Sherlock Holmes. To give you a short recap before we get into chapter 7, because now we are on chapter 7. It's called The Conclusion, so that's pretty exciting. And then I can go through the rest of it. All right. When we last left off, wait, did I not? Why do I feel like I didn't read this? Hold up. So we... Oh, I'm not on the right. Got it. I was in the wrong section. I was on a different chat. I opened to a different chapter 7, if you could believe it. All right. So there's chapter 7, and then it enters part 2. I see. So when we left off last, Gregson just got done talking all about his investigative work where he met the Madame Charpentier of Charpentier's boarding establishment in order to find out more information about Enoch Drebber, the murdered man that we found in a building earlier in the story. And we learned that Enoch Drebber was a scoundrel, was just a shithead is the word I used before. It's the word I use now. Enoch Drebber was a shithead. He also did have he had a secretary with him, and the secretary's name was Stangerson. Stangerson, up until this point, had not really been a part of the story until Lestrade, the local like hotshot police officer, knocks on the door, enters the room, and says Stangerson has been killed, has been murdered. And this is a revelation. Stangerson was not a central character in the story at all at this point. He was just an accompanying he was just someone accompanying the main character, or the central character of the story. He was accompanying the central character of the story, Drebber, but he himself wasn't really touched upon. He was described as a quiet and sort of like meek sort of man, but yes, specifically Mr. Joseph Stangerson was murdered at Holiday's private hotel about 6 o'clock this morning. Now, if I'm correct, this is, I think we are the day after the murder. So at this point, on the day after, okay, so at around midnight to 1 o'clock, around then, 2 days ago, that is when Drebber was found dead in that building. Then the next day, we put out an ad in the paper. Oh wait, no, and that same day, Sherlock Holmes puts out an ad in the paper for the gold ring that they found in order to lure out the murderer. They successfully did lure out the murderer or someone affiliated with them, and that person came to their house to inquire about it. Watson gave that person the ring, and Sherlock Holmes then tailed the person that received the ring as far as he could, but the person in the cab gave him the slip when they finally got to the destination that the cab was supposed to go to. Now, at this point, it is the next day, and during this next day, we are we're introduced to the concept of his orphan children informant network, as well as we're given this story from Gregson all about what happened on his end, because he is a police officer as well, and he was doing the investigation himself to an extent. So I think right now we're just in chapter 7. This is right after Lestrade came into the room and said, "Ayo, it looks like Stangerson was murdered." Let me get some water. I have to remember to drink water. So if anyone wants to tell me to drink water, please do. I am going to here. Story time. There we go. I guess that's really the best I can do here. Oh well, we'll look at it later. All right. Chapter 7. Light in the Darkness. The intelligence with which Lestrade greeted us was so momentous and so unexpected that we were all three fairly dumbfounded. Gregson sprang out of his chair and upset the remainder of his whiskey and water. I stared in silence as Sherlock Holmes, whose lips were compressed and his brows drawn... I stared in silence at Sherlock Holmes, whose lips were compressed and his brows drawn down over his eyes. "Stangerson too," he muttered. The plot thickens.
It was quite thick enough before, grumbled Lestrade, taking a chair. I seem to have dropped into a sort of council of war.
Are you sure of this piece of intelligence? Stammered Gregson.
I have just come from his room, said Lestrade. I was the first to discover what had occurred.
We've been hearing of Gregson's view of the murder. Oh, we have been hearing Gregson's view of the matter. I have to remember things. We have been hearing Gregson's view of the matter, Holmes observed. Would you mind letting us know what you have seen and done?
I have no objection, Lestrade answered, seating himself. I freely confess that I was of the opinion that Stangerson was concerned in the death of Drebber. This fresh development has shown me that I was completely mistaken. Full of the one idea, I set myself to find out what had become of the secretary. They had been seen together at Euston Station about 8:30 on the evening of the 3rd. At 2 in the morning, Drebber had been found in the Brixton Road. The question which confronted me was to find out how Stangerson had been employed between 8:30 and the time of the crime, and what had become of him afterwards. I telegraphed to Liverpool, giving a description of the man, and warning them to keep a watch upon the American boats. I then set to work calling upon all the hotels and lodging-houses in the vicinity of Euston. You see, I argued that if Drebber and his companion had become separated, the natural course for the latter would be to put up somewhere in the vicinity for the night, and then to hang about the station again next morning.
They were likely to agree on some meeting place beforehand, remarked Holmes.
So it proved. I spent the whole of yesterday evening in making inquiries entirely without avail. This morning I began very early, and at 8 o'clock I reached Holly's private hotel in Little George Street. On my inquiry as to whether Mr. Stangerson was living there, they at once answered me in the affirmative.
No doubt you are the gentleman whom he was expecting, they said. No doubt you are the gentleman whom he was expecting, they said. He had been waiting for a gentleman for 2 days.
Where is he now? I asked. He is upstairs in bed. He wished to be called at 9.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was Watson, so... No doubt you're the gentleman whom he was expecting, they said. He has been waiting for a gentleman for 2 days.
Where is he now? I asked.
He is upstairs in bed. He wished to be called at 9.
I will go up and see him at once, I said. It seemed to me that my sudden appearance might shake his nerves and lead him to say something unguarded. The Boots volunteered to show me the room. It was on the 2nd floor, and there was a small corridor leading up to it. The Boots pointed out the door to me, and was about to go downstairs again when I saw something that made me feel sickish, in spite of my 20 years' experience. From under the door there curled a little red ribbon of blood, which had meandered across the passage and formed a little pool along the skirting at the other side. I gave a cry, which brought the Boots back. He nearly fainted when he saw it. The door was locked on the inside, but we put our shoulders to it and knocked it in. The window of the room was open, and beside the window, all huddled up, lay the body of a man in his nightdress. He was quite dead, and had been for some time, for his limbs were rigid and cold. When we turned him over, the Boots recognized him at once as being the same gentleman who had engaged the room under the name of Joseph Stangerson. The cause of death was a deep stab in the left side, which must have penetrated his heart. And now comes the strangest part of the affair. What do you suppose was above the murdered man?
I felt a creeping of the flesh and a presentiment of coming horror even before Sherlock Holmes answered. The words Raish, written in letters of blood, he said.
That was it,
said Lestrade in an awestruck voice, and we were all silent for a while. There was something so methodical and so incomprehensible about the deeds of this unknown assassin that it imparted a fresh ghastliness to his crimes. My nerves, which were steady enough on the field of battle, tingled as I thought of it.
The man was seen, continued Lestrade, a milk boy, passing on his way to the dairy, happened to walk down the lane which leads from the mews to the back of the hotel. I noticed that a ladder, which usually lay there, was raised against one of the hotels on the second floor, which was wide open. After passing, he looked back and saw a man descend the ladder. He came down so quietly and openly that the boy imagined him to be some carpenter or joiner at work in the hotel. He took no particular notice of him, beyond thinking in his own mind that it was early for him to be at work. He has an impression that the man was tall, had a reddish face, and was dressed in a long brownish coat. He must have stayed in the room some little time after the murder, for we found blood-stained water in the basin, where he had washed his hands, and marks on the sheet where he deliberately wiped his knife. I glanced at Holmes on hearing the description of the murderer, which tallied so exactly with his own. There was, however, no trace of exultation or satisfaction upon his face. "Did you find nothing in the room which could furnish a clue to the murderer?" he asked. "Nothing. Stangerson had Trevor's purse in his pocket, but it seems that this was usual, as he did all the paying. There was 80-odd pounds in it, but nothing had been taken. Whatever the motives of these extraordinary crimes, robbery is certainly not one of them. There were no papers or memoranda in the murdered man's pockets, except a single telegram dated from Cleveland about a month ago, containing the words, 'J.H. is in Europe.' There was no name appended to the message." "And there was nothing else?" Holmes asked. "Nothing of any importance. The man's novel, with which he had read himself to sleep, was lying upon the bed. His pipe was on a chair beside him. There was a glass of water on the table, and on the window sill a small chip ointment box containing a couple of pills." Sherlock Holmes sprang from his chair with an exclamation of delight. "The last link!" he cried exultantly. "My case is complete." The two detectives stared at him in amazement. "I have now in my hands," my companion said confidently, "all the threads which have formed such a tangle. There are, of course, details to be filled in, but I am as certain of all the main facts, from the time that Drebber parted from Stangerson at the station up to the discovery of the body of the latter, as if I had seen them with my own eyes. I will give you a proof of my knowledge. Could you lay your hand upon those pills?" "I have them," said Lestrade, producing a small white box. "I took them in the purse and the telegram, intending to have them put in a place of safety at the police station. It was the merest chance my taking these pills, for I am bound to say that I do not attach any importance to them." "Give them here," said Holmes. "Now, doctor," turning to me, "are those ordinary pills?" They certainly were not. They were of a pearly gray color, small, round, and almost transparent against the light. "From their lightness and transparency, I should imagine that they are soluble in water," I remarked. "Precisely so," answered Holmes. "Now, would you mind going down and fetching that poor little devil of a terrier which had been bad so long, and which the landlady wanted you to put out of its pain yesterday?" I went downstairs and carried the dog upstairs in my arms. Its labored breathing and glazing eyes showed that it was not far from its end. Indeed, its snow-white muzzle proclaimed that it had already exceeded the usual term of canine existence. I placed it upon a cushion on the rug. "I will now cut one of these pills in two," said Holmes, and drawing his penknife, he suited the action to the word. "One half will return to the box for future purposes. The other half I will place in this wine-glass, in which a teaspoonful of water. You perceive that our friend the doctor is right, and that it readily dissolves." "This may be very interesting," said Lestrade, in the injured tone of one who suspects that he is being laughed at. "I cannot see, however, what this has to do with the death of Mr. Joseph Stangerson." "Patience, my friend, patience. You will find in time that it has everything to do with it. I shall now add a little milk to make the mixture palatable, and on presenting it to the dog, we find that he laps it up readily enough." As he spoke, he turned the contents of the wine-glass into a saucer and placed it in front of the terrier, who speedily licked it dry.
Sherlock Holmes's Sherlock Holmes's earnest demeanor had so far convinced us that we all sat in silence. Watching the animal intently and expecting some startling effect. None such appeared, however. The dog continued to lie stretched upon the cushion, breathing in a labored way, but apparently neither the better nor the worse for its drought. Holmes had taken out his watch, and as minute Holmes had taken out his watch, and as minute followed minute without result, an expression of the utmost chagrin and disappointment appeared upon his features. He gnawed his lip, drummed his finger upon the table, and showed every other symptom of acute impatience. So great was his emotion that I felt sincerely sorry for him, and while the two detectives smiled derisively, by no means displeased at this check which he had met. It can't be coincidence, he cried, at last springing from his chair and pacing wildly up and down the room. It is impossible that it should be a mere coincidence. The very pills which I suspected in the case of Drebber are actually found after the death of Stangerson, and yet they are inert. What can it mean? Surely my whole chain of reasoning could not have been false. It is impossible. And yet this wretched dog has done the worse. Ah, I have it! I have it! With a perfect shriek of delight, he rushed to the box, cut the other pill in two, dissolved it, added milk, and presented it to the terrier. The unfortunate creature's tongue seemed hardly to have been moistened in it before it gave a convulsive shiver in every limb, and lay as rigid and lifeless as if it had been struck by lightning. Sherlock Holmes drew a long breath, and wiped the perspiration from his forehead. I should have more faith, he said. I ought to know by this time that when a fact appears to be opposed to a long train of deductions, it invariably proves to be capable of bearing some other interpretation. Of the two pills in that box, one was the most deadly poison, and the other was entirely harmless. I ought to have known that before I ever saw the box at all. This last statement appeared to me to be so startling that I could hardly believe that he was in his sober senses. There was the dead dog, however, to prove that his conjecture had been correct. It seemed to me that the mists in my own mind were gradually clearing away, and I began to have a dim, vague perception of the truth. All this seems strange to you, continued Holmes, because you failed at the beginning of the inquiry to grasp the importance of the single real clue which was presented to you. I had the good fortune to seize upon that, and everything which had occurred since then has served to confirm my original supposition, and indeed was the logical sequence of it. Hence, things which have perplexed you and made the case more obscure have served to enlighten me and to strengthen my conclusions. It is a mistake to confound strangeness with mystery. The most commonplace crime is often the most mysterious, because it presents no new or special features from which deductions may be drawn. This murder would have been infinitely more difficult to unravel had the body of the victim been simply found lying in the roadway without any of those outre and sensational accompaniments which have rendered it remarkable. These strange details, far from making the case more difficult, have really had the effect of making it less so. Mr. Gregson, who had listened to this address with considerable impatience, could contain himself no longer. Look here, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, he said. We are all ready to acknowledge that you are a smart man, and that you have your own methods of working. We want something more than mere theory and preaching now, though. It is a case of taking the man. Excuse me. It is a case of taking the man. Oops. I have made my case out, and it seems I was wrong. Young Charpentier could not have been engaged in the second affair. Lestrade went after his man Stangerson, and it appears that he was wrong too. You have thrown out hints here and hints there, and seem to know more than we do. But the time has come when we feel we have a right to ask you straight how much you do know of the business. Can you name the man who did it? I cannot help feeling that Gregson is right, sir, remarked Lestrade. We have both tried, and we have both failed.
You've remarked more than once. Oh, you've remarked more than once since I have been in the room that you had all the evidence which you require. Surely you will not withhold it any longer. Any delay in arresting the assassin, I observed, might give him time to perpetrate some fresh atrocity. Thus pressed by us all, Holmes showed signs of irresolution. He continued to walk up and down the room with his head sunk on his chest and his brows drawn down, as was his habit when lost in thought. There will be no more murders, he said at last, stopping abruptly and facing us. You can put that consideration out of the question. You have asked me how I know the name of the assassin. I do. The mere knowing of his name is a small thing. However, compared with the power of laying our hands upon him, this I expect very shortly to do. I have good hopes of managing it through my own arrangements, but it is a thing which needs delicate handling, for we have a shrewd and desperate man to deal with, who is supported, as I have had occasion to prove, by another man who is as clever as himself. As long as this man has no idea that anyone can have a clue, there is some chance of securing him. But if he had the slightest suspicion, he would change his name and vanish in an instant among the 4 million inhabitants of this great city. Without meaning to hurt either of your feelings, I am bound to say that I consider these men to be more than a match for the official force, and that is why I have not asked your assistance. If I fail, I shall, of course, incur all the blame due to this omission, but that I am prepared for. At present, I am ready to promise that the instant that I can communicate with you without endangering my own combinations, I shall do so. Gregson and Lestrade seemed to be far from satisfied by this assurance, or by the depreciating allusion to the detective police, or by the it's depreciating, not deprecating, or by the depreciating allusion to the detective police. The former had flushed up to the roots of his flaxen hair, while the other's beady eyes glistened with curiosity and resentment. Neither of them had time to speak, however, before there was a tap at the door, and the spokesman of the street Arabs, young Wiggins, introduced his insignificant and unsavory person. "Please, sir," he said, touching his forelock, "I have the cab downstairs." Good boy, said Holmes blandly. "Why don't you introduce this pattern at Scotland Yard?" he continued, taking a pair of steel handcuffs from a drawer. "See how beautifully the spring works. They fasten in an instant." "The old pattern is good enough," remarked Lestrade, "if we can only find the man to put them on." Very good, said Holmes, smiling. "The cabman may as well help me with my boxes. Just ask him to step up, Wiggins." I was surprised to find my companion speaking as though he were about to set out on a journey, since he had not said anything to me about it. There was a small portmanteau in the room, and this he pulled out and began to strap. He was busily engaged at it when the cabman entered the room. "Just give me a help with the buckle, cabman," he said, kneeling over his task and never turning his head. The fellow came forward with a somewhat sullen, defiant air and put down his hands to assist. At that instant there was a sharp click, the jangling of metal, and Sherlock Holmes sprang to his feet again. "Gentlemen," he cried with flashing eyes, "let me introduce you to Mr. Jefferson Hope, the murderer of Enoch Drebber and of Joseph Stangerson." The whole thing occurred in a moment, so quickly that I had no time to realize it. I have a vivid recollection of that instant, of Holmes's triumphant expression and the ring of his voice, of the cabman's dazed, savage face, as he glared at the glittering handcuffs which had appeared as if by magic upon his wrists. For a second or two, we might have been a group of statues. Then, with an inarticulate roar of fury, the prisoner wrenched himself free from Holmes's grasp. The prisoner wrenched himself free from Holmes's grasp and hurled himself through the window. Woodwork and glass gave way before him, but before he got quite through, Gregson, Lestrade, and Holmes sprang upon him like so many staghounds. He was dragged back into the room and then commenced a terrific conflict.
So powerful and so fierce was he that the four of us were shaken off again and again. He appeared to have the convulsive strength of a man in an epileptic fit. His face and hands were terribly mangled by his passage through the glass, but the loss of blood had no effect in diminishing his resistance. It was not until Lestrade succeeded in getting his hands inside his neckcloth and half strangling him that we made him realize that his struggles were of no avail. And even then we felt no security until we had pinioned his feet as well as his hands. That done, we rose to our feet, breathless and panting. "We have his cab," said Sherlock Holmes. "It will serve to take him to Scotland Yard. And now, gentlemen," he continued with a pleasant smile, "we have reached the end of our little mystery. You are very welcome to put any questions that you'd like to me now, and there's no danger that I will refuse to answer them." Wowee. Let me see. Do we keep going? It begins part 2. Yeah, I'm gonna save part 2 for next time, only because it really truly feels like it goes elsewhere. Or maybe, I don't know. One sec. Oh, it looks like a flashback, like background as to who Mr. Stangerson was. Give me one sec. Yeah, this takes place in America. Hmm. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the best choice is. Yeah, this is very non sequitur seeming. Well, we can also just go ahead and do it. So this is, well, no, because then this brings it to chapter 1. Like, this is part 2, chapter 1. So it doesn't make sense to me to sum it up now. But let's take a look here. So now, in chapter 7, we just got told by Lestrade, who walked into the room, that Joseph Stangerson had been murdered. He was the secretary for Enoch Drebber, and we hadn't heard anything about him up until this point, so this is quite the development. So Lestrade enters the room, and he just came from the hotel at which Mr. Stangerson was murdered. And just see. Lestrade wanted to know what Stangerson was doing during the time that Drebber was out to the train and back to the boarding house. So between 8:30 and midnight, Lestrade wanted to know what Stangerson was doing then. He wanted to know his alibi for that time. Lestrade was especially worried that they would somehow escape back to America, and he kind of gave out a warning call to the nearby harbor folk to look out for a man with this description so that he doesn't escape uh, from the police. So he doesn't escape from the police. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Let me just record this. Also because oh, where is it? It's supposed to be that. Oh well. Okay. So let's record. And so now we are at chapter 7. At the end of chapter 6, Lestrade entered the room after Gregson's big story and brought us the news that apparently Mr. Joseph Stangerson, apparently Enoch Drebber's secretary, Joseph Stangerson, was found murdered at a hotel at 6 o'clock the morning that day. At 6 o'clock in the morning on that day, Mr. Stangerson was found murdered. Lestrade was convinced that the secretary, that Stangerson, had something to do with what was going on because they got separated. So Lestrade was under the assumption that, well, he's clearly a loose end that needs to be dealt with, that needs to be figured out. And we need to find out where he is. Lestrade put out a warning to all the local harbors and ships people to keep an eye out for a man with Stangerson's description so that he doesn't escape to America and therefore evading the police. Lestrade began the investigation pretty early in the day, and around 8 o'clock in the morning, he found his way to Holiday's private hotel in Little George Street. And that was where Stangerson's body ended up being found because he was able to find out that that was where he was lodging. Apparently, Lestrade see. The people at the hotel told Lestrade that Stangerson was expecting a gentleman for 2 days, and they were Stangerson was expecting someone to arrive in 2 days to rendezvous with him. Lestrade went upstairs, and then under the door peeked out a little red ribbon of blood. So something hinky is going on here. The door was locked from the inside, but with the help of the hotel staff and Lestrade, they all, tucked in their shoulders and opened it, barged it open. And they found the window open, a man curled up beneath it, and okay. They open the door, they find the window open, they find okay, they open the door, they find a man. They open the door, they find the window open, a man underneath it. This is the last thing I wanted to say here. and the man was in his sleepwear. At this point, rigor mortis had set in. He's been dead for some time. When they turned the man over, it turned out to be Sanderson. It appeared that the cause of death seemed to be a stab wound to the left side, which apparently penetrated his heart. Above the murdered man, above Sanderson, written in blood, was the word Rache, R-A-C-H-E, German for revenge. But of course, it was Sherlock Holmes that offered this little tidbit. Lestrade was like, "What do you think was above the?" Lestrade asked, "What do you think was above the murdered man that was so shocking?" Sherlock Holmes pipes up, "It was probably Rache, R-A-C-H-E, German for revenge." And at this point, the four of them at this point, Watson, Lestrade, and Gregson are all kind of freaked out at the methodical and just downright odd nature of these crimes. Like, some real weirdo is doing this. Okay, so apparently there was a man who was seen by a let's see, outside of the hotel. A milk boy, so milk delivery boy, was passing on the way back to the dairy when they saw a man descending from the window and from a ladder, and the ladder is usually tucked up, it's like a fire escape, so the ladder was tucked up, and he saw a man descending the ladder quickly, silently into the night. The man that descended the ladder was tall, had a reddish face, and was dressed in a long brownish coat. Inside the room, there was some blood-stained water in the basin, in the hand-washing sink, and there was a very clear wiped blood stain on the sheets where the knife presumably was wiped. Watson was expecting Sherlock Holmes to be super excited, over the moon, but he was just staring into space, brow furrowed, deep in thought, lost in thought. Sherlock Holmes asked if there was any other clue that could have told them what the murderer was up to. And Lestrade said no. Sanderson had Trevor's purse in his pocket, but this was typical since he was Trevor's secretary. There were 80 pounds or so in there, but nothing was taken, so robbery wasn't the point of the crime. And there was nothing in Stangerson's pockets other than a telegram from about a month ago from Cleveland saying there were no papers or anything in Stangerson's pockets other than a telegram from a month ago in Cleveland saying that JH is in Europe. There was no name, just those initials. Otherwise, there didn't seem to be anything else amiss. There was his novel, or Stangerson was reading a novel that was thrown over to the side. On the windowsill, there was an ointment box with a couple of pills in it. This made Sherlock Holmes rise to his feet in delight, crying out, "The last link!" He finally figured out this was the final step, the final piece of the puzzle that he was looking for. Sherlock Holmes asked Lestrade if he could see those pills and take a look at them, see what's going on there. Lestrade doesn't think that there's anything to. Lestrade doesn't think there's anything amiss with the pills, but Holmes asks Watson, "Hey, do these look like normal pills to you?" Again, Watson is an army doctor, so he would absolutely know. And Watson said no, they were a pearly gray color and small, round, kind of transparent. He determined that they should be soluble in water, so they that's exactly what Sherlock Holmes sets out to prove. So he takes one of the pills and Sherlock Holmes asks Watson to go ahead and bring his old bulldog, who has been sick and ailing for some time and was recently asked by the landlady to be put down, unfortunately. And Sherlock Holmes takes one of these. Sherlock Holmes takes one of these pills, splits it in half, puts it in a saucer with a little bit of milk, and has the dog lap it up. The other half is placed inside a wine glass and filled with water, and we are shown, yes, it does indeed dissolve in water. It is water soluble. So they fed the dog the drugged milk, and they were all waiting around for the dog to react, for something to happen. And Sherlock Holmes was getting increasingly impatient and frustrated because it didn't seem like there was anything happening. Nothing was going on. Nothing was being revealed or anything. Of course, Lestrade and Gregson are looking at each other like, this guy with his pills, he thinks he knows more than us. Sherlock Holmes absolutely does. Now, at this point, Sherlock Holmes is frustrated. He was convinced that he had everything about the case solved, and now suddenly a dead end. He is unclear. He is unsure what exactly is the issue. This Sherlock Holmes expected the pills themselves to be some kind of clue as to the actual death of Drebber and Stangerson, because again, remember, these are he believes that poison is the ultimate killer here. and he's getting frustrated. Why am I having such a hard time finishing this case? Like there can't be anything else. I thought of everything. And then he realized there's another pill in the ointment box. So he cuts that one in half, puts that one in with some milk in a saucer for the dog, and the dog immediately dies. Like just immediately expires, is not it's not labored or slow. It's a very quick, instant, like tongue taste milk, dog dies. And unfortunately, Sherlock Holmes is delighted by this development because it means that he is entirely correct. And Sherlock Holmes has I like this quote here. I should have more faith. I ought to know by this time that when a fact appears to be opposed to a long train of deductions, it invariably proves to be capable of bearing some other interpretation. So if all of this information has been synthesized into a conclusion, and there is one fact that just simply does not jive with the conclusion, then there must be some other conclusion to draw that is tangential. And in this case, it was that one of the pills was completely harmless, and the other one was a deadly poison. Now, Sherlock Holmes essentially laughs at everyone, saying, "You all think this is strange, but you have failed to realize what I learned at the very beginning because you equated strangeness with mystery, when really the most commonplace crimes are the ones that are the most difficult to solve because there isn't the element of strangeness. Strangeness only serves to draw more attention to the fact that there are some things that are not strange." More or less, that's the general gist of what he's going for. If the body was somehow found outside in the rain and just the mystery would have been infinitely more difficult if the body was just found outside in the rain with like none of the weird, like occulty, weird, odd stuff going on. But because of the conditions that the murderer had set, excuse me. All right, stop. It's saying the power has been restored. I know, I'm streaming. Ah. Right. So, and I like how he explains this here. The most commonplace crime is often the most mysterious because it presents no new or special features from which deductions may be drawn. So, a simple common crime is very hard to solve because there's nothing unique or different about the circumstances, because those are where one can find actual insight. And again, if you think about how Sherlock Holmes has been really arriving at all of his conclusions, it's always from the remarkable aspects of a situation or something that sticks out to him as being unusual. And I imagine it takes an unusual person to know where the unusual things in a story lie. So that's sort of the enigma of his character, is that he is entranced by enigma. Whereas I think most people really don't enjoy feeling like they're in the mystery because there's the element of the unknown, there's the element of fear, there's some. Yet Sherlock Holmes seems almost magnetized to the concept of mystery, and you see that in how he builds his knowledge with all the most sensational crimes that Europe has to offer. That's why he's able to know that this is actually, in fact, not really a big deal, because this is actually something that has been done before. So Gregson, he looks at Sherlock Holmes and he says, so, okay, we get it. You're smart. All right, I got it. But, okay, so I went to the Charpentiers. They didn't seem to be, that seemed to be a dead end. Lestrade went to the secretary. That seemed to be a dead end. What happened? Just tell us, please. They're begging Sherlock Holmes to just wrap up the mystery, but Sherlock Holmes doesn't. What he does instead is say, now I could tell you who the murderer is. I know exactly who it is. But if I let you know and you let something slip that allows the person, if you let something slip that allows the murderer to believe that they are being cornered, then the murderer is just going to change his name and leave the country. Sherlock Holmes does have a... Sherlock Holmes has been finding a way to corner this assassin the whole time. He has been, in his own efforts, figuring out ways to sort of smoke him out. But it has to be done very carefully, very discreetly, because this is a desperate man that will just, at the drop of a hat, leave the country and never to be seen again. And again, consider there are 4 million people in London, so it's not like you can just find someone that easily. Plus, he is in the contact of someone who's at the very least as smart as you guys. Conveniently leaving out that Sherlock Holmes was also, in fact, duped by one of these accomplices. Now, one of the street urchins, Wiggins, comes up and says, hey, we found him. We found the guy. And Sherlock Holmes is like, delightful. It seems that everything is turning up Millhouse. Everything's gone great. So apparently there's a cab downstairs. That is what the child brought to Sherlock Holmes, was the cab man, the cab driver. Sherlock Holmes then Sherlock Holmes then, at this point, Sherlock Holmes is now asking, hey, why don't you police officers have these handcuffs? Because this is a great model. You should use them because they fasten instantly. And now, for some reason, it looks like Sherlock Holmes is about to depart on some kind of journey. He has a trunk packed up, and he asks Wiggins to go down to the cab and have the cabman help him bring the luggage into the cab. So he goes, so that's exactly what he does. The boy goes down, has the cabman come up, and when the cabman helps Sherlock Holmes bring his trunk down to the cab, Sherlock Holmes attaches the handcuffs to the cabman's wrist. And then Sherlock Holmes, with all the aplomb that you would expect, says, "We have found Mr. Jefferson Hope, the murderer of Enoch Drebber and Joseph Stangerson." This is the JH that we learned about in the letter that was on Stangerson's person. Now, of course, the cabman did not take this lying down. He almost jumped out the window, but was snatched up by Lestrade, Gregson, and Holmes right at the last moment. And until Lestrade choked him out, he was just... what was the word? Until Lestrade choked him out, he was going to fight with every last breath that he had. Once he realized that he was truly caught, he succumbed. And Sherlock Holmes says, "Go ahead and use his cab to bring him to Scotland Yard." At this point, Sherlock Holmes pleasantly says, "Go ahead, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them now." And that ends part 1 of A Study in Scarlet, which, wow. what a trip, man. Sherlock Holmes. Cool. So that said, next time we start part 2. Part 2 is appearing to be a flashback where we learn a bit more about Stangerson and a bit more about Drebber, their relationship, etc. I see the word Mormon. Okay. Yep, the Flower of Utah. That's chapter 2, part 2. So yeah, this next section is just background as to what exactly happened before Stangerson and Drebber arrived in London. By the time we get to chapter 3, that's when we start to get more information about what happened back then. And I mean, if this is part 2, then clearly we're not done. Clearly there's more to figure out here. A mystery within a mystery, perhaps. All right, folks, that is Sherlock Holmes, the Great Detective. All right, save that recording. And I'm going to get my Switch, and I think I'm going to play some Descenders. I really like that game. So I've got to put myself here. Can I adjust this at all? Let's see. There we go. Okay. Gonna put some music on. Let's change the...
I guess I just don't want you to feel like you're nothing.
All right, we're gonna play some Descenders. I'm gonna be right back. Let's text. Ah. Okay, be right back. All right, that was some. Okay. Get our video game. Webcam. Hello. I definitely like warmer light. Oh no, I'm not over here. Okay. Get it going. Oh no, now it's I forgot it's not opaque anymore. I mean it's background. Let's try. Background opacity, a hundo. Wait, no. Guess I mean like that. And then message opacity. Okay. We gotta turn off that music. Man, I love this game. I feel like no one knows about it. But I freaking adore this game. Especially from the first person perspective, it's pretty good. The hardest part is like when it gets steep and then like the challenges don't break. I'm even scared of doing backflips. I'm scared of doing backflips when I'm in first person, but I'll do it. Nice. And then bop. Love that part. It's my favorite part. Oh, I realized it's hold on. Sorry, I just realized There we go. Okay. Should be good. I can't fit the whole thing, but I can certainly fit some of it. I'll try. I think that's the best I can make it. If you want all the details, then you got to go to the actual stream, like not the short stream. This is a pretty uneventful course. Usually there's more tricks. You know what? Fine. Fine. We're gonna get that top speed. Even if we have to go out of our way to do it. Yeah. Bonk. Oh, I almost bonked. One sec. Yeah. Game is so it's so under the radar. I can't believe that. Okay. Uh, ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. Uh, okay. I don't know. First person is always more difficult because I have no idea where the ground is most of the time. Oh. Oh my god. Let's hit the rock. What's the boss jump? Boss jump. Oh. Is the boss jump? here it is. I messed up. Wasn't going fast enough. Not even close. Oh, it said I did it. All right, cool. Oh, give me something. Give me something more. Give me something challenging. Up speed. I'm not gonna get this top speed if I keep going with this. Faster! Faster! Ugh. Get one clean landing. Easy. I already did the objective. Uh-oh. Yes, let's go. Yes. One double backflip? No, thank you. This is when you gotta like start weaving and sliding, or else it gets too much. Ah, where's the track? Okay. Also, this game has a great soundtrack. Definitely gives off like 2010, like the 2010s, like EDM. Getting two near misses, that's like, I want to actually survive. I don't know how one actually does that without beefing it. Oh my god. Wait, whoa. Where am I? Ah! Be back here. Okay. I ain't getting two near misses. I don't care. Whee! Perfect. Or why? Why would I do that? I've watched some headcam videos of like extreme free riding, and this game really does satisfy that same, like, you know, like, you know, when you're watching Red Bull videos and then you're like, wow, how can they do that? How can they defy death like that? They're just on a mountain thousands of feet above the ground, and yet they're like, I want to ride a bike on that. Miss me with that, but I am so happy that they made a game that like does it. Whee! Because I don't skateboard, I won't skateboard, but oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. Okay. I don't skateboard, I won't skateboard. I don't ski, I won't ski, but damn it, it looks cool. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. You just put this here. Why? Oh. Getting a little toasty. Whoa. Uh-oh. Oh, oh, oh no. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Whew. That was a close one. Yoo. None of that nonsense. $720. That's so many. Oh, oh no, I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. Ah! Oh. Oh no! Oh no! I missed it! Ah! Oh crap! Oh crap! Oh! Right in the face. It's so easy to miss. Whew. What you want me to do is 720 in this economy? I don't know about all that. I don't think I even have a chance to do a 720. The goal is right here. I ain't doing no 720. Oh yeah, let's go fast. I love go fast. But it's scary. Oh no, oh no, oh my god, oh my god. Too fast. Too fast. Oh, oh, that slide though. Oh yeah. Nice. Bonk. I truly like this game more than most other games, and No one's talked about it. But it's like, it's got everything. It's a roguelike action sport, procedural generated. It's so cool. And it runs great on the Switch too. It did not run that well on the Switch one. I mean, look at it. It's like, you know, it's pretty ambitious. Yeah. Yeah. Where's the mini boss jump? Did I already pass it? I guess I did. Oh, it was the watchtower. Hold on. Can I think I'm way too far back. Oh well. I got health from that anyway. Boss track. Hey. Finish without letting go of the acceleration is so hard. Because that also means don't break. So all my speed control comes solely from my ability to like slalom my way down ski style. Uh-oh, here we go. I can't see it. Oh no! Okay. We need to go slower. Yo? Oh, so close. Come on, I can do it. I got the right speed. Might be a little fast. Can I do it? I don't know if I can do it. This is already quite a few tries. Nice. Okay. Canyon's a trip. Canyon's where it starts to get like spooky. Forest is a little spooky, but Canyon's where it starts to get like, oh, you're like actually, you got a death wish. Okay. Like, here's a bunch of just like open pits for you to fall into. Have fun. Yeah, buddy. I'm not doing front flips. Nice. Yeah, I'm not doing front flips. No, sir. But I am gonna hit that. Ugh. Finish without letting go of the acceleration. Uh-oh. Can't do it. Ugh. It feels like a roller coaster sometimes. Like a literal roller coaster. And they have to wonder, like, are people doing this? Like, for real? Oof. Hey. Yeah, baby. Let's go. Boom. Finish within 50 seconds. Are you serious? Well, these are hard because I have no idea how long it is. And if I want to like be careful and not beef it, not die. So far so good. Whoa! Whoa, you really tried to fool me there. Oh, we got it, we got it, we got it, we got it. Boom! Why not? I'm already doing the helmet cam. Why the heck not? Do 362 times. Whoa. Whoa. All right. Not here. Not enough speed. Yeah. Here. Nice. That's one. All right. It was sloppy, but you know, that's 2 out of 2 sloppy seconds. Bonk. All right. I want, what's this? Ranch. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's worth it, but I'm gonna try it. Oh boy. I love a good challenge. A challenge. Finish without breaking. Okay. That doesn't mean I have to hit the acceleration. I can't just sort of. Oh god. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Ah. I survived. Yeah. Oh, why? Okay, let's try this again. Yeah, you're not gonna get me this time. Oh, you are gonna get me enough speed though. Oh my lord. Okay. Okay, no breakies, no breakies. Oh no. We gotta reduce our speed somehow. Ah. Okay. Easy. Come on. Let's go. Whoa. Okay, I'm not gonna try to bonk. Okay, we got the Medicamp. Oh, we need to get going though. Okay, I don't know what the ranch is, so we're gonna multiple bonus objectives. I've never done. Whoa, whoa! This is Tony Hawk as hell. Do a Superman backflip. Do a 540 no-hander. Do a 180 can. Okay. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this not looking forward because I can't tell what I'm doing. Let's start here. Let's get some speed. Uh-oh. Aw. Okay. Let's start from the top here. Let's start from the top. And we're gonna... So a Superman backflip. Can we go up here? Is this too much? Oh no! Stop. I need to... Thank you. Okay. Superman backflip is scary. Oh, missed that cactus. All right, let's go here. I know how to do a Superman backflip. Oh, I dropped in terribly. Get more height. Ah. This feels impossible. And I know it's not, but like... I just want to do the Superman backflip. So I need to... What? That wasn't fair. Ridiculous. Get me out of here. Well, I did one. Nice. Okay. I think I'm gonna try only one more of these. Tabletop. Superman is... What? Ridiculous. All right, give me something more. That's fine. That's great. Nice. Okay. We're going to the desert. I just want to go crazy. Oh, sure they. Oh no, didn't like that I did that. We're just gonna zoom. What? No, no shot, no shot. We got like 15 minutes left. See a big hill. Go down the big hill. Whoa. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's get it. Let's do it. Oh, I don't know why I died. Oh well. Sometimes you don't know why you die, I suppose. Sometimes you don't know why you die. I feel like that would be the worst situation. You know, like if I died and then like, you know, I get to the pearly gates and I'm like, so like what happened? They're like, you don't remember? It's like there was that show, The Good Place, where they didn't tell the main character how lamely they died. I thought that was so funny. But I also got thinking, you know, what would I absolutely not want to hear? Probably something something involving me like in like a compromising position. Like if I were like trying to scale a fence and then like my I ripped my pants or something, I'd be like, oh man, of all the things. Oh no, a tree. Sometimes it's a tree. Sometimes I'll die and I'll be like, hey, so like that tree, and you know, the Lord above will go, yeah, that tree. I'm like, oh great. Yay! Oh, I clipped my head. Okay. Fine, fine. I won't backflip the boss jump. I need to backflip the boss jump. I must. I must. It's gonna kill me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I need like way more speed. Excuse me. Excuse me. Let's go. I got one shot, but I need to do it in order to unlock the shortcut so I can practice other stages. All right, but we got some stank on this one. All right, here we go. I can't do it. Oh my, no. Man. Ugh. I got a pizza. Why? How? All right, we gotta try the desert again. I need to progress in this game. Yeah. We gotta get it. It also doesn't mean anything unless you do it for. Oh yes, look at my pizza. We gotta get this piping hot. We gotta get this za where it's going. Everyone wants a piping hot slice in the desert. Gotta get this pizza. Oh, we got it. 50 seconds, easy. All right, just in time. 30 minutes or less. I told you. 46 miles an hour, huh? All right, it's gonna take some deft maneuvers, but this pizza's got to get where it's going. Gotta get that hot parm. Whoa. Okay, where are we going? Where are we going? I don't know if I'm gonna get the top speed. Nah, no shot. Oh well. I'm coming from the side. Okay. Oh shoot. I wish. I wish. Finish without letting go of the acceleration. Get this hot Papa John over. Anything for you. I don't got no Diet Dr. Kelp though. How do we feel about diet sodas? I like diet sodas. I don't know how they make them 0 calories, but like it's better than too many calories. Like the drinks feel hollow, right? Like they taste hollow. They're not, but they like it's just they have sweeteners that our bodies can't digest, so it doesn't matter. They get this but I like diet sodas, Diet Coke, Diet Coke Zero. We just got the Canada Dry Zero. It's nice to have some ginger ale every now and again. Give me some more stunts. We're in the desert. I haven't seen any stunts. But no, I like diet soda. I like diet soda big time. More so, like my body rejects high fructose corn syrup. I did this briefly in college. I uh, I was like, you know what? I see it everywhere, and people keep telling me it's gonna kill me. I'm gonna get rid of all the high fructose corn syrup in my diet for like 6 months, and then as soon as I like tried to have some, my stomach revolted. My stomach was like, no, we can't eat this, because I was really on top of making sure there were no added sugars and stuff like that. Um, and I don't know, I was trying to see if it made a difference, because I would eat sugar and high fructose corn syrup like anybody else, but it it's not good for you. That's not like a judgment. That's an objective fact. It is not good for you. And I don't know. I guess if there were diet sodas, seem to me like the less of two evils, but I'm definitely trying to drink that evil. You know what I mean? Diet sodas are like, they give you the promise of happiness, but really you got to do most of the work yourself and like imagine what it's supposed to taste like. And I don't know, it feels like an honest beverage, does it not? Because it's not trying to be real. It knows, we all know that like it's a fake drink. But at the very least, it's fake in a way that I know, rather than fake in a way that like I can't comprehend. I don't know. I'd rather have the taste of a Mountain Dew and then know that it's not like silently killing me than and like not have any of like the real, I guess, gratification people go to Mountain Dew for. People like Mountain Dew for the fact that it's like radioactive. That I don't get. Unless you're having a, whoa, what's that? Oh, it's a boss jump. Wait, how did I not get there? Hold on a second. Hold on. Okay. I ain't gonna backflip shit. Okay, I gotta lock in for this one, because I do have to backflip shit. In order to progress in the game, you need to complete the boss objective. But I don't know how to do it. I just keep hitting my freaking head. Buddy. Oh! Oh! All right. Well, it counts. It counts. The trick is to wait for the backflip until after you clear the thing. But for me, I'm a bonk. For some reason, when I do that, it blacks out on my screen out here. Probably because my capture card setup is a little jank. But let's get it. We're going to the jungle. We got a couple minutes left. So yeah. Okay, we're going back to pizza time. Pizza pie. Whoa. Uh-oh. I can't see much over the pizza box, unfortunately. I hit a tree! I don't know much about this particular environment. Okay. It wasn't a 720, but it was okay. I did not die. I wish I could do this first person, but I truly, like, I need to know what's going on from... What? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No. No. Don't go out like this. You know what? Fine. We're gonna be a little careful. Uh-oh. 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 Ah. It like blacked my screen. I don't know where I'm going. Ah! I don't know where I'm going. Here? No? Ah, there's the goal. That's a big drop. Okay. All right, I got it. Yeah, now we're playing the game. We did it. I just don't want to die just from like attempting, you know? If I die, I want to like go out in a blaze of glory. We gotta get this pizza. We got jungle pizza. We put like extra banana peppers on it or something. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. All right, fine. You want us to take it slow? We'll take it slow. This is the last stand. I can't. Okay. God, there's just so many like huge cliffs. And then if I'm off the track at all for any amount of time, the odds of dying drastically go up. Oh my lord. Well. Cool. It is what it is. That said, it is 4 p.m. So that is it for today. For Balco Books, the streaming study hall for curious cats. You know where it's at. It's Balco Books. We're going to be back on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, story time is going to be the backstory of Stangerson and Trevor, presumably, and Jonathan Hope. We're gonna, or is it Jonathan or is it Joseph? Hold on. By Jove. Where are we? John Rance. This is. He is Jefferson Hope. He's Jefferson Hope. So we're going to learn about Jefferson Hope, Joseph Stangerson, Enoch Drebber, and how they all messed around with each other, and why Jefferson Hope had to kill those guys. I don't know. I haven't read it yet, but I will read it on Wednesday. Until then, thank you very much for stopping by. I love you. Take care. Drink some water.